Hello everyone, it's Nick Lawson with CDC Take Charge Software. This is Lesson 3 on building the King James Bible Reader application in Alpha software. As I mentioned at the end of Lesson 2, the life issue portion of the application was something we would discuss as a separate lesson, and that's what this lesson is going to be. So to start off, let's take and look at how that works so we can familiarize ourselves with the process. Here, when you bring up the reader, if you look at volumes, you'll see life issues is one of the options. So if I select it, it automatically displays a list of chapters and verses in the entire Bible that relate to specific categories of life issues. Uh, They are illness, financial, depression, loneliness, fear, worry, trouble, decisions, bereavement, death, sin, and what Jesus said. Now, some people have already asked me, well, where did this list come from? And it's kind of an interesting story. When I first wrote this application back in 2005, late 2005, early 2006, I wanted to be able to do something that would make it stand out from other Bible readers that are out there. And I was contemplating what I could do, and I had no idea what to do. Well, that particular Sunday in church, sometimes when you leave the church at the end of the service and you get to the end of the aisle, someone is handing stuff out. Well, as a courtesy, you take it. So somebody was handing something out. I took it, didn't actually look at it. We get outside, and then I look at it, and it's a little pocket card that had all of these life issues broken out by verse that was compiled by Concordia University, which is a Lutheran-based Christian university. So I thought, wow, that's pretty interesting. There's what I'm thinking about and exactly what I end up getting. So just an interesting little story. Now, when you look at this list, you'll see it starts off with the category first, then the book, and then either a chapter and verse, or a chapter and verse range. Now, let's actually look at those. So Psalms 23, if I display that selection, this is one that everybody knows. You learn it as a kid when you're going to Sunday school. And it's always been a favorite of mine, actually. Um, then if you want to see just a single chapter and you find it in a category that you're concerned about, well, you click display and it shows just that chapter. And then finally, of course, is the chapter and range. So here we'll be looking at Psalms chapter 73 verses 26 through 28. So we select that, takes a second, and there it is. So now, remember, these verses aren't there just for your comfort. They're there for the comfort of the people you know and care about as well. So you're able to take and grab, like, specifically these three verses, and we could take and bookmark it, add our own thoughts to it, and then email it to a friend who has a particular issue they're dealing with, an illness, whether for themselves or one of their family members. It's just a great way to take and really provide that personal touch to people that have the Bible reader. Okay, let's look at how all that's done. So I'm going to bring up the code page. And down here, so we're looking at death. Notice here that this is what the customer sees or the user sees in the list, death.psalms 23. The actual value, which we're able to display by creating a pipe and then putting in what we really want the value to stand for, is BC, two underscores, in Psalms 23. Now, what the BC stands for is book chapter, which is exactly what that one is, Psalms book chapter. Here, we're looking at book chapter verse, Psalms 13, or I'm sorry, 138, chapter 7, or I'm sorry, verse 7, chapter 138. And then here we have book, chapter, verse, range. So it's John chapter 11, 25 dash for through 27. See, pretty simple. Now, once they make a selection and we know what this string is back here, we then pass that to our script, which runs here. So it says if the selection, what we selected up above, is life issues, then we want to take and clear our uh, reader and then run the script display life issues. And here's that script down here. Now remember, we said that what was in the actual string, we're doing a left trim and we're pulling back what exists. So that in this case it's BCVR, which is book, chapter, verse, range. So our filter, we open the reader and we open verses as the transaction table, and our filter is between Alt-Trim V-Link left, right, Alt-Trim var V-Books, blah, blah, blah. And in our blog, when we put this over on the blog, which will be in the next day or so, that'll be explained in detail how that string actually works, that between function. And then we set the post count to 1. Otherwise, we want to open a reader and select verses, and we want to take and look for book, chapter, verse only. And there it is right there. Finally, our last choice is if it's just book and chapter, that's what the 2 underscores are for, just placeholders. Um, we open reader and verses and we go back and we pull the chapter for that particular book that we want to see. Once we've created our filter, then the posting rule goes out and finds the record or range of records that we asked for. And then we open up written text and we post to it whatever our filter brought back from our posting rule. Very simple. Then we end our batch process. And the reason for the batch is, again, we're searching through 35,000 verses or records. So using a batch begin and a batch end speeds up that process. Okay, now let's take one more time and look at how it works. So we're going to bring up the reader. Oops, I'm wrong section. King James Bible Reader. And life issues. And the flu's going around, so let's look at that. Psalms 91. We display it. There you go. We want to look at John 16:33. And also, you can also take and combine verses. So we got John 16:33. Now we're going to add Philippians 4 and 7. There you go. Pretty cool, huh? All right, folks, that's it for today. Thanks a lot. And go to our blog. It'll be there in the next day or so, as I said, and you'll see all this in detail. Have a great day.